As somebody who's participated over the years, I have to tell you, I learned so much, especially about micro-managing, micro-budgets in India. I mean, and how these women who were oppressed build companies. It's an incredible experience, and I just hope that for the audience out there, they do participate and they do support, you know, because it's amazing to have it. Mr. President, thank you for being my guest tonight. I can't thank you enough for doing this. It's incredible. And as I said, I always learn amazing things from you. Hopefully they'll let us do this again, and we're just going to talk about movies the next time.
This is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world.
Well, the first movie I ever saw more than once was High Noon.
Right.
And I was still living in Hope, Arkansas when it came out. I was 6 years old. You could go to the movies for a dime, and I'd get 20 cents. So I could buy, I think you could get a Coke and a candy bar or something for a nickel each then. And I bet I've seen it 25 or 30 times. The only other movie like that in my life that I just see over and over and over again and never get tired of is Casablanca.
Well, you know, High Noon was a movie directed by Fred Zinnemann and produced by a very political producer, an activist named Stanley Kramer. Actually, they have an award, the Stanley Kramer Award, even today, because of the movies like Judgment at Nuremberg and movies that he made of that
Fabulous
nature.
Movie.
Did you know, you know what I mean, at the time, I mean, I guess as not
No
as a
clue.
kid, later on, did you realize that that was an anti-McCarthy movie?
Yes, I did later on, when I read some books about the movie, and you know, I figured if I was going to see something 20 or 25 times, I ought to know more about it. But I liked it because it wasn't your standard macho Western. Gary Cooper was scared to death, all alone. He did the right thing anyway. So
did you ever feel, you know, when you were the president, that you also were the sheriff, abandoned? I mean, as Gary Cooper is, and that all the townspeople run and hide, and there you are to face the enemy all by your lonesome?
Sometimes. But, you know, it's really important when you're president. The equivalent of that is is an opinion poll. The day I helped Mexico, 81% of the people were against it. The majority of the people were against Bosnia or Kosovo or lots of other things I did. You have to ask yourself, where's it going to come out at the end? When Gary Cooper rode out of town at the end, they were happy. They were glad to be rid of Frank Miller and his gang. It's the same thing.
Exactly. Now, if I were to make a movie about your life, who would you want? And don't worry, you can name any actor. We won't tell anybody. Who would you want to play you, Mr. President?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I would trust your judgment more than mine on that.
Brad Pitt? George Clooney?
Too good looking. George Clooney is at least more my size.
Right, and not that good looking either.
No, too good looking. But you know, you could put bulbous things on his nose. You could do makeup with him. And he was great. His movie last year was great. You know, his Hawaii movie. What was the name of the movie?
Descendants.
It's fabulous.
Right.
He was so good in it, so real.
I thought it was great too. And Hillary, who would you play Hillary in this movie?
Meryl Streep.
Bill Clinton has a statement on the upcoming rehabilitation of Harvey.
Now, William Jefferson Clinton on the rehabilitation of Harvey Weinstein.
My fellow Americans, I'm here today on behalf of an old family friend, Harvey Weinstein, who is right now making amends for some unfortunate
come on,
behavior. But it will take some time. Harvey is an old dinosaur learning new tricks.
Come back to Papa.
Trick number one.
No.
Harvey, shut the door.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Everyone in Hollywood loves Harvey's power and money, and we will forgive and forget the fact that for a moment he lost control of himself and acted like Donald Trump for
30 years.
30 years. Soon, he will be a changed man who respects women for who they are, not for their... Trick number two, wait until you are rehabilitated to do it again.
William Jefferson Clinton on the rehabilitation efforts of Harvey Weinstein. That was obviously produced in a hotel suite somewhere.
This kind of behavior cannot be tolerated anywhere, whether it's in entertainment, politics. Well, you know, after all, we have someone admitting to being a sexual assaulter in the Oval Office. There has to be a recognition that we must stand against this kind of, action that is so sexist and misogynistic.
And this depends upon women coming forward and having the courage to come forward.
Right.
And yet in your book, the 3 women brought onto stage by Trump attacking your husband, and you kind of dismissed them. Was that the right thing to do? Are you sure about that?
Well, yes, because that had all been litigated. I mean, that was the subject of a huge, investigation, as you might recall, in the late 90s. And there were conclusions drawn, and that was clearly in the past.
And then he forces me down on the bed. And I just was very frightened. And I tried to get away from him, and I told him no.
This woman took a hold of my hand and squeezed it. She said, I just want you to know how much that Bill and I appreciate what you do for him. That's the first time I became afraid of that woman.
It's been widely reported that, as First Lady, Hillary led the effort to disparage her husband's woman accusers who were dismissed as bimbo eruptions.
In November, she wrote on her Twitter page, she said, every survivor of sexual assault deserves to be heard, believed, and supported.
That's interesting. I wasn't ever heard and supported and believed. She tried to basically derail me.
I believe that what Mr. Clinton did to me was wrong.
November of 1998, here's what she said happened.
When I turned around, he had dropped his pants, and he sat down and he exposed himself to me, and he asked me to perform oral sex on him.
Is that how he said it?
No, he said, would you kiss it?
Clinton reportedly paid her $850,000 in an out-of-court settlement.
I felt like, no man is above the law. Why should he not pay for what he does as well?
A woman named Kathleen Willey about President Clinton and about her claims that he sexually groped her in the Oval Office. Well, earlier, I spoke with Ms. Willey about all of this.
Hillary Clinton is the war on women. And I think that she needs to be exposed for all of the terror campaigns that she has waged against the women who were in the wrong place at the wrong time with her husband. And it's been going on since before they got married. When she was having a discussion with somebody about how they were going to handle Jennifer Flowers, and she was trying to find a way to hang a crime on her, she wanted to send that woman to jail. And that's when I thought, this isn't right. She's going to run on women's issues like she says she is, and she's going to accuse the Republicans of this war on women. I think she needs to be exposed for the war that she's waged against people like me. I mean, she has choreographed every single investigation and every terror campaign against every single woman, practically, who she thinks might be a problem.
Hillary Rodham was a 27-year-old trial lawyer in Arkansas with a southern drawl and big ambitions. She was asked by a judge to defend a 42-year-old man accused of raping a 12-year-old girl. In that clip, Mrs. Clinton seems to admit she knew the defendant was guilty.
It took a lot of different tests. I haven't been positive. And she passed. She forever destroyed my faith in college.
Now, Clinton was able to plea bargain down the sentence to just 1 year in prison, which was then reduced to time served. But the victim, who is now 52 years old, is speaking out to the Daily Beast and saying that one of the most famous women in the world put her through hell. She also has a message now for the former Secretary of State.
You lied on me. I just realized the truth of it. It's hard back in 06 after I got out of prison. I just studied a little bit. I realized the truth now. Hard of what you done to me. I said, and you're supposed to be it for women? Do you call that for women? What you done to me? And I heard you on tape laughing.
You talk about leveling with the American people. Have you always told the truth?
I've always tried to. Always. Always.
Hillary, you're fired.
Make America great again, great again, great again, make it great again.